Hi.
Hi.
I'm Nick.
I'm Jill.
And we're HipStrings.
Welcome to day 7 of the Base12 Spinalong.
I figured I'd let you do it since I've done it the last couple of times.
Okay. So today's fiber is caramel on gray merino silk.
Yeah, and actually...
Which is what Nick spun yesterday.
That's what I spun yesterday. I was so close to being on par. Also, all of you remember to use a different bobbin.
If you're going for a 2-ply.
If you're going for a 2-ply, because we're halfway through. And actually, now I'm at the point where I've got to re-roll some stuff.
Oh.
Because... here we go. And I'm doing 4.
I'm trying to remember what 4 was.
Well, I guess you'll remember once you see it.
So similar to Jacaranda on gray merino silk.
So it's the same, like, base,
yeah.
but just different color. Cool.
Yeah. And I'm on a new wheel tonight because my hand was not happy with me earlier today. So I'm trying a different wheel. I'm on the T-Rex's wheel, a shacked sidekick. So, with a woolly winder. So, I've got an advantage on you because I don't have to stop to change hooks.
A big advantage. You don't even need to change hooks. You don't need to think. You just need to spin.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Woo.
Fresh bobbin problems, right?
Fresh bobbin problems, yeah, right. Like, it's going like gangbusters, and I have way too much twist in here to start off with. It's the beginning.
But this is the first time I'm spinning with a 3D printed pulley. On one of our shacked wheels, you 3D printed a pulley because I thought I had
lost it,
gotten rid of it. So hopefully it works out.
What do you mean hopefully? Of course it's going to work out. Oh, ye of little faith. Okay. Wait, where did the rest of my fiber go?
Down there. That might be a problem. You don't get to say that you're done just because you dropped your fiber on the ground.
Done! All right. So, now that we're halfway through, and we definitely saw some new people yesterday come on, do you want to talk a little bit more about, you know, just in general, especially as I'm trying to figure out how to start this darn thing, the concept of Base12 and what we're doing here? And
so Base12 is the HipStrings annual spin-along. It's 12 days of fiber, but we do it from December 12th to December 23rd. And we count in base 12. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, A, B, 10. You have the chance of spinning randomly, which is what Nick is doing, or in order, which is what I am doing. And there are 3 different types of fiber. So there are 4 of each. There is hand-dyed gray merino silk, which is a 70-30 blend of gray merino and 30% twisted silk. There are hand-carded bats, which are approximately 75% wool and 25% silks. And then there are signature blends, which are typically 75% wool, 25% silk.
all right. And yeah, I didn't show off my squishy die. Maybe I should do that. This is what I've been using to roll for it. But obviously, if you had the spin-along fiber, then it would come with your own die of random color.
And we're halfway through.
So we have Dave, by the way, saying that he thinks his plan is to chain ply. So I'm doing all mine on a single bobbin. So then, yeah, for those of you that are going to do that, you don't have to worry about switching bobbins. There's also the fact that if you're going to be doing a 3-ply, then you should have already switched bobbins long ago. Molly Singh says, I'm down to only 1 surprise left. Now I wonder, how many surprises am I down to? 1, 2, 3. I've got 3 surprises.
So you're half surprises.
Half surprises, yeah.
60% surprises.
Wait, what?
60%, because there's only 5 left after tonight.
Oh, yes, I guess. This was not a surprise. Although I've got a memory like a goldfish, so it kind of was a surprise. If I don't remember it, is it still a surprise?
I don't know. I mean, it's been kind of a surprise, the order of everything for me, because I forgot.
Yeah. And Dave, by the way, in reference to the 3D print comment, says, when I said, "Oh ye of little faith," he says, "Oh ye of prior experience." No, but wait, I've actually gotten better with my 3D printed stuff, and started using this PLA Plus stuff, which is so much more durable, and it prints up a lot like PLA. It's pretty nice. I don't know exactly what the different chemical makeup is, but I have a feeling it's like a combination of PLA and ABS or something like that. Also, Dave says, "I'm still grumpy about Dragonfly and Peacocky. Grump, grump, grump."
Yeah, Meredith was messaging me in.
Grumpy specifically that they've been discontinued?
Yep. And
Well,
that they did not buy any. They didn't have any in their stash. And that's their problem.
Yeah.
Peacocky was in the store for over 5 years.
So do you want to talk a little bit about what makes you decide to discontinue a fiber?
There's lots of different factors. Sometimes it's something just doesn't sell. I have internal metrics on how much something has to sell in a certain amount of time to decide whether or not I keep it around. And so sometimes things go away even though I love them. Just because I can't, they need to have a certain amount of turnover.
That's exactly the case for Peacocky, right? It was selling like gangbusters for years.
Yeah, and it had slowed down a lot in the last 2 years. And so another is sometimes the components become no longer available, which happens more than I would like, and is why I don't have the dyed-in-the-wool buoy fiber anymore. And then there is also sometimes I make something better. And I'm just like, well, this is better, so we're going to keep this around instead.
And you upgrade. And you said that was the case for Dragonfly?
That's the case for Dragonfly and Peacocky.
Oh, what's the upgrade for Peacocky?
Shimmer.
Oh,
it's the
upgrade for both of them.
I was thinking about bringing Peacocky back.
Yeah.
And I think there was something, I couldn't get it exactly. There might have been a component that was out of stock or something. And so I made a substitution with a new component that hadn't been available before. A new shade of merino of mulberry silk. And I got it in. I'm like, okay, well, this is so much better than the original Peacocky. So, Meredith, believe me, just order the shimmer. Okay?
Diane Kassikert says, "I divided each day in half by weight, and I'm spinning 2 identical bobbins. We'll have a 2-ply. So, yep, that's perfect." And then also says, "I love both Peacocky and Dragonfly. I did buy a lot of shimmer."
Yeah, Diane did buy a sweater quantity worth of shimmer.
Nice. That'll make a beautiful sweater.
Mm-hmm.
Which, wasn't it Peacocky was one of the ones that we tried to get mill spun to?
Yeah.
And that just didn't work out right because they blended it too much.
It ended up getting blended too much with the milling process.
So,
but Peacocky was one of my first blends. It was in the first order of custom mill blends. So I think the only one that's that old that's still around is Starling. Starling is one of the originals.
I know. There's another bird one, the red one, the one that has flax in it as well.
Housefinch?
Yeah.
That's not one of the originals. It's still around.
It's one of the early ones.
It's when I started doing flax stuff, but that was a couple years in.
Okay. Yeah.
But like Moonstone was one of the originals.
Yeah. That's not around anymore?
That's not been around for about 2 years.
You know, one you should bring back is 123 Death.
Okay, so all these things you're talking about.
Yeah.
So this bat club that I'm thinking about putting together for next year, or the limited edition monthly bats. Moonstone's going to be one of those.
Ooh.
And 123 Death is going to be one of those.
Nice. It's a
I
greatest
forget
hits.
whether or not I put peacocky in that list.
Yeah.
I know that there's like snowflakes that stay,
But they're bats. They're
but
not.
they're bats.
They're not the.
So some of them are
roving.
signature blends that I had that there were issues with making the bat or limited components that can go into the signature blends. And I would really like to be able to tweak it a certain way that I can't do in a blend, but I can do it if I card the bats myself.
Nice.
So like some of the issues with Moonstone, there is some inconsistency from batch to batch from the mill, and so
Fix that.
I can fix that now. And issues with like guard hair in the alpaca, and I have better sources of alpaca fleeces in the stash. So
this is going okay-ish. Not that they're getting too thick.
which I guess I have this week to finalize, because I said I'd have it like up in the shop by after Christmas.
Yep. Yes, you did.
So I guess I know
and
what
it's
I'm
on
doing.
video, and you can go back and
I guess I know what I'm
verify.
doing over the next couple of days.
Great. I guess I'm on cleaning duty. Molly says, I'm spinning the ordered bobbin first, so there's a chance I can roll for the last surprise. Jan Johnson says, luckily, Jill gave me advice on plying because I almost opened all of my packages to figure out a plan. I want a 2-ply where the smooth and textured are mixed. And yeah, do you want to elaborate a little bit on that, Jill?
Yes, I actually talked about this a lot yesterday.
Yeah.
About it to mix a little bit. You can offset one of the plies.
That's right. Yeah.
By like taking your last fiber, splitting it in half, and then using that to start off with, and then or to end. So you spin half of it, and then you take it off onto like a toilet paper roll, and then save that to have at the end, and then spin your other 1/4 ounce, and then that will have each fiber gets applied with 2 different fibers.
Yep. Cool. By the way, Dave says, but Dragonfly was teal and Peacocky was purple. Kind of?
And Shimmer has...
Both.
Yes, Shimmer has both. Shimmer is a less purple Peacocky with some silvery gray silk in it. I promise you, Shimmer.
Has Jill ever led you wrong?
Don't answer that.
Is there, by the way, I think another one that I remember fondly, I only remember, was it Brass Monkey in some of the cocktails?
It wasn't Brass Monkey, and it wasn't a cocktail. There was, I think there was Brass Monkey or Golden Monkey. Yeah, that was one that it was really good, but it didn't sell well enough. Actually, I ended up revising that because there wasn't enough contrast between the different fibers in the blend. And so I revised it, and it became Topaz in the gemstone line. And then Topaz didn't sell well enough.
What about the Zombie Unicorn? That was a very
That did not turn it out as I wanted it to. So
did that ever get sold?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had a very small batch of it, and somebody bought it like immediately, but I was not happy with it.
Well, maybe you can make that as part of your bat club.
I don't know how to make it right.
I vaguely remember the wasn't there in the cocktail collection, I'm trying to remember what it was, the blackberry spritzer, didn't that have like pops of green in it too?
Yeah.
For the lime?
Yeah, and that ended up getting revised and was John C. Campbell. Was Folk School.
Okay. I can't remember what either of those look like. I just like the theme behind them. So Dave is, and possibly, this sounds more like Meredith has the keyboard, but is saying, but need a strong teal.
Shimmer. I promise you, it's what you want, Meredith. And I was surprised you didn't take, well, I was surprised you didn't take any home at Indy.
Did you have it? You had it in
Yes.
Indy.
That's where Diane bought her sweater culinary work.
Oh, okay, there you go. Jill.
What? Oh my gosh.
No,
How'd that happen?
Because I spread
it. You evil, evil man.
Yeah, well.
You're stripping?
I'm stripping. It stripped on its own, actually, and so I just decided to go with it.
I'm having some tension weirdness, and if I lighten up my tension, it doesn't, like, take any more, and if I have it where it will feed on, it's a little bit strong, so I'm being a little cautious with my spinning.
Good. Then maybe I can beat you.
Finish first.
I was trying to think, what is the right way to say that? Because I'm like, I don't want to say I'm beating my wife.
Yeah, you can say finish first.
There we go. That might also have bad connotations, but sorry, Safe for Work podcast. Moving on. So, we went to the zoo today.
Because it was cold and rainy, and so nobody else would be there, and we were right.
Best time to go to the zoo. It was great. Weirdly enough, a lot of the animals were out and like right up front and center. They were wet, but
we got to see the cheetahs right up. They were up against the glass.
Yeah, and the tigers were the closest we've ever seen them in the 10 years we've been going.
I've seen them once up against the glass.
That's true. Yeah. Saw a snow leopard butt.
No, that was a Canadian lynx.
Oh, sorry. Shows you how much I was paying attention. And then, yeah, no. Get to see our penguins.
Upside down jellyfish.
Yeah, they have. So the zoo here has an aquarium associated with it, and so we went into there, and I had never seen this before. These weird jellyfish that they don't float; they just sit on the ground, upside down, with their tentacles up in the air, like some sort of dead.
Well, they're like anemones.
Right, but they're jellyfish. And they look nothing like anemones. They look like jellyfish that just decided to give up and just gonna hang out here. All right, we've got Stephanie says, defeating? You're defeating your wife. Yes, there we go. I'm going to remove your feet.
No!
Oh, that's bad too. Succeeding against
misery.
her. Succeeding against her.
Just succeeding.
Yeah, true. Okay. One can be showing one up. I like the succeeding. Anyways, remember.
Besting?
As I said, nobody's better than you. As I said, I'm competing only against myself in this case. Unless I happen to finish first, at which point I win. Right? That's the way it goes.
Yes, that's very positive thinking.
And Dave says, the lynx is where the snow leopard used to be. Thank you, Dave. So I was remembering the enclosure, not the animal. Which is a very Pittsburgh thing of me to do.
Yeah.
Take a left where the McDonald's used to be. Stephanie says, also I'm having attention issues tonight, mostly from switching bobbins, taking a minute to get accustomed to it. Yeah, I as you noticed with what I was doing, I was having all sorts of fresh bobbin issues. I actually didn't even adjust my tension as I was spinning before, which I'm not sure if that was a
I don't usually have to on my Magic Crafts.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
And Dave says, also, alternative phrasing, winning at spinning. We're all winning at spinning.
You know what we all win? Yarn.
Yeah.
There's a participant trophy for everyone.
In the shape of yarn. That also reminds me of the phrase knit fast, die warm.
I gotta say, like, supposedly we're the, like, generation of participation trophies, which I don't get because I won real trophies.
I never got
and you never got
participation
any
trophies. Yeah.
And now I seriously feel a lack of trophies for my kids. They never get trophies or placing or
Yeah, well, because the everybody complained about it, and so we skipped over. We're the offset generation. We are the generation that got hit by 2 recessions, and we're the generation.
we might be on 3 now.
Yeah, right. We're the generation that we're before participation trophies, and our children are the one after participation trophies. So it's just like we're always on the bottom part of the sinusoid. The wrong part of the pendulum swing,
Yeah.
however you want to put it. Oh, woe is us. Bested is a good verb for this, I think, says Sasa. See, but I can't be better than Jill. It's just not possible. There's no one better than her.
I'm not going to argue with that.
I want to make everybody vomit with how saccharinely sweet we are.
Well, we once made a roommate complain to the RA.
That is true.
Roommate tried to ban Nick from my dorm room.
Not tried, succeeded. I was banned from your dorm room.
Yeah, she was banned. Nick was banned because we were too happy together, and that was upsetting to her.
There's no way we could have possibly been this happy together, that we were doing it just to spite her. I'm like, wow. This was a good friend of mine from high school. Like, I don't know what happened.
She was the reason you introduced me to her to get into the room.
But, so, I got kicked out of the room and couldn't go back. And so Jill just spent all her time in my dorm room.
Yep. Because you had a roommate who was effectively living with his girlfriend.
It all cascades down. Yeah, I know you said you were using Woolly Winder, and I still was like, wow, you're really consistent with spreading around your hooking.
Magic.
Magic. Mm-hmm.
I've forgotten how much I like this wheel.
Right? It's the only one I can spin blind on. Of course, when I'm spinning blind, I'm not trying to get a consistent 23 reps per inch on my single.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't go super fast, so that's why I stopped using it.
Yeah.
But for my default wool spinning, it spins fast enough.
Yeah? Good.
Yeah. I have it at its fastest. But I spin thicker than I did back when I stopped using it, so. Because I like spinning yarn I'll actually use.
Wait, so you're not going to use, lace weight?
No. Have you seen how much lace weight is piling up in the stash? I buy
No,
it.
I haven't.
It doesn't become anything.
Well,
it becomes aspiration. It is aspirational yarn.
Yeah. Well, that was like what you were talking about.
I think I'm going to weave most of it.
When you're really stressed out and you really want to craft, it's not you don't go to the stash and use something from the stash. You go buy more stuff for the stash, because clearly buying stuff for the stash means that you will have more time to deal with it because you've bought it. That's how our brains work.
Mm-hmm.
Not just ours, everybody's, for whatever reason. We're going to buy that time that we can't actually buy.
If I have the thing, I'll make it so.
Yep. Never mind if it actually
Yeah.
happens.
It's only taken like 10 years, and I figured out that doesn't work.
I mean, I think you knew it didn't work from the beginning. Just hasn't really been grokked. Ooh, do I get to teach people a word?
Sure, you can teach people grok.
To grok. To grok is essentially to understand, but it's not just to kind of understand. It is to understand with the wholeness of your being. It is something that you truly comprehend at a soul level, right? So you don't just say, "I understand this concept." You know, it's really if you really truly 100% feel it in your bones, that's to grok something. It's a very West Coast terminology, apparently. Or maybe Silicon Valley.
Yeah, I thought it comes out of tech. Or programming or something. I don't know the origins.
I don't know the origins either. It's probably some ancient Latin word. Grockier.
Well, it's like you talking about color names.
Yeah, well, we were
orange
going
didn't exist as a color until after the fruit was brought to Europe. And before then it was red, yellow.
It was something like for probably like 100 years in written text, it was never used just as orange. It was always used as orange color. And Shakespeare actually referred to something as orange tawny, which means an orangey brown. So it was used as a modifier to another color, but again, in that time period, it was not as a color by itself.
And it's like the word blue, like a name for the color blue did not exist until after we had a pigment for blue. Until we could make it, we didn't have a name for it.
Molly Singh, by the way, says, I just cast off a lace weight handspun project, but I have several skeins to go. And to grok is the simultaneously love and hate and destroy from the book Stranger in a Strange Land. Okay, I haven't heard that use of it. That's good. I have to dig deeper into that one.
I mean, if you are an expert in something, you often love and hate it at the same time. It's like how you feel about your field of expertise at the end of your PhD.
Yeah. Yep. I'm perfectly fine with never dealing with thermoelectrics again, but they're really cool.
And I can tell you all the problems with genomics data mining. And I doubt it's gotten better in the 13 years since my dissertation.
Well, it's all a matter of just statistically negating the false data.
Yeah. It's the problem with incomplete data sets and trying to figure out NP-hard problems.
Yeah, we're going to get real deep real fast here.
Well, they were talking about how they like learning something every night.
So I mean, I think if you want to dig into one element of that, you should describe what NP hard means.
I liked the description. So I used to work in phylogenetics, which is you take DNA sequences from a whole bunch of things that you think are related, and you model the changes between the sequences and use that to reconstruct evolutionary history. And it is considered an NP hard problem because the potential number of solutions is greater than the number of stars in the universe. And so you have to take shortcuts in the actual analysis, so because you don't have the computing time to actually determine the likelihood of every possible solution. So what are called heuristics, you take shortcuts in what you think are the right direction, but if you take the wrong shortcuts, it can give you really high statistical likelihood that you came up with the wrong answer.
So the way I like to think about that is, Stephanie says, by the way, oh my God, you guys are like wicked smart. So the way I like to think about it is, when you have a solution for a math problem, a lot of times it can look like a wave, right? So I've got a wave going up and down, and down again, right? And if you're looking for the peak, let's say I've got a wave like that, a wave like the two of our heads with something in between, right? So I'll use your head as an example.
Okay.
So you want to find the maximum point. Well, my head is a little bit higher up than Jill. So if you're looking at the entirety of the space, then yeah, you're going to be able to look at all the points. You're going to be like, yep, okay, that point on the top of Nick's head, that's higher up than Jill's head. So that's the maximum point. But if you don't want to analyze all the points, like Jill was saying, you don't want to analyze all the stars in the universe, you want to look at a small section. And so you got to pick where's that small section you're going to start at. Well, if I start on my shoulder and you keep going up, yeah, okay, you'll find the right top. But if you start on Jill's shoulder and you go up, you're going to find a top and you say, yep, if I go that way, it goes down. If I go this way, it goes down. This is the top. But it's not actually
because
the
you have
top.
to go all the way down there and then back up.
You got to go down to go back up, and there's nothing about, going higher that says, oh wait, I'm going to go down to go up. So that's a really simple example of something where that's in just one dimension, 2 dimensions.
Right.
And you're going to add, I don't know how many dimensions.
And there's a whole bunch of assumptions. Like when you're reconstructing evolutionary history, you need to have an idea of how those DNA sequences evolve in the first place. And we typically model that based on the data set itself. So it can be circular.
And all of this goes into the same sort of arguments for I don't know if any of you have heard the phrase garbage in, garbage out. That is especially relevant to things like artificial intelligence, where you can have really, really good artificial intelligence models, generated models, if you've got a lot of good data to go into it. But if you've got a bunch of crap data, you're going to get a
or
crap
if you
analysis.
Completely miss certain scenarios.
Yeah.
And you never train the AI on something. It, unlike human brains, which can do a better job of adapting previous knowledge to new things, it will just fail.
So let's bring this back to spinning to some degree. Right? The way I would describe it in spinning is, okay, I've spun wool before. I'm going to teach a computer how to spin wool. We get it to spin wool perfectly, right?
But I never taught it how to spin a long wool. Or I suddenly give it some alpaca to spin.
I was going to take
cotton.
a huge left turn and say cotton, right? So we're going to say, okay, computer, you know how to spin this wool. Go and spin some cotton. And the computer's going to fail miserably, and it's going to be like, well, this just, you can't spin it.
Yeah. Cotton is not spinnable.
Right? And a lot of people fall into that, right? So that's why this is in intelligence to some degree. But, we have the ability of expanding our experience and saying, okay, well, if I can't do this, let's learn from other people that have had that experience. Or, what are the things that I've learned in my little bit of experience that I can expand further, right? Like, so the shorter staple length, the faster I've got to spin. So maybe with how short staple length this is, I got to spin really fast.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are doing this sort of analysis all the time when you get a fiber that is felted a little bit, or if you want to try and combine colors. And the only thing that's hard about doing this in a computational standpoint is putting it in a simple enough language for a computer to understand. So I would argue that you guys are wicked smart. All right.
And failing lots. Failing lots helps. I think one of the greatest things I did when I was a noob spinner was I tried a lot of different things. And whenever I was trying new things, I like put in my head, what is this like? What isn't it like? Like, what category does this belong into? And you can usually get a feel for fibers by spinning like half an ounce or an ounce. Like, you don't need to spin 4 ounces of everything.
We're spinning half an ounce
We're
every
spinning
day,
half an
right?
ounce every day.
Is there anything that you spun, you were like, I'm never going to spin this again, and then you decided to give it another shot, and you figured out what you hated about it?
BFL.
Yeah?
Long wools. I have when I was a new spinner, I had the tendency to put too much twist in to things. And so then you put a long wool, which needs a lot less twist, and I was just spinning wire. It was way too much twist. And like the first time I spun BFL, it was semi-felted. So it was like bad fiber on top. So I was like, I swore off BFL for so long.
That's one of your favorites.
And then I was trying to spin long wools and figuring out that, oh, I need to spin slower. I can't spin this on the biggest pulley or on the smallest pulley. I need to you don't always have to spin on the fastest part of make the wheel go as fast as it possibly can. Like, you can slow down and make a better yarn. And that took me like a while to like grok.
Now I have some real anxiety about as to whether or not I'm overspinning my stuff. How would I know if I'm overspinning?
If it starts to corkscrew while it's like feeding onto the bobbin, if it pigtails, if you're getting on the bobbin itself.
Yeah, but can't you compensate some of that with the tension of the bobbin and all that jazz?
Yes. So like what you just did you're supposed to pull off from your bobbin, which is hard for me to do with woolly winder, and then do a ply back. And you can check the angle of twist of that ply back, and if it's in like the 30 degree, around 30, and then that's usually a well-balanced yarn that will have a good hand. Where it bends, if there's an open loop there, that means there's not enough twist in your single for making applied. But that's also a good check if you're wanting to keep it as a finished single. That means it doesn't have too much twist in it.
If there's an open loop?
If there's an open loop, when it folds back on itself.
Yeah, I'm going too thin. Oh no. I started looking away.
Like this part.
Yeah.
There will be an actual open loop that you can see air through.
I'm going to go back and...
I mean, that's kind of why it's hard to spin a very thin singles yarn, because thinner yarns need more twist in them.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to get enough twist so that it holds together, but isn't going to like have too much energy on its own.
Yeah.
So that's why usually single ply yarns are fatter. Fatter yarns don't need as much twist.
Okay. By the way, Molly says, haha, I did the too much twist with Romney.
Yep. Romney's another long staple.
Long wool. Yeah.
And so, like, the solution is just slow down your wheel, which can also be hard for some people because as you switch to a larger pulleys, it gets easier to treadle. And so a lot of people get like rocket feet. They go really, really fast. And so they're adding just as much twist as they were with the smaller pulley. So you have to keep your feet at like the same pace.
This is why an e-spinner can sometimes be helpful in that case, right?
Yeah. But now I have no problem spinning long wools. And I struggled with it in the beginning. And now I enjoy spinning BFL. And I think it makes lovely yarn.
You've got some superwash BFL in the shop, right?
No, not anymore.
You used to.
Okay. I used to. It's a bit of a pain to dye. It likes to fall apart. because it doesn't have the scales to hold it together. So that's why I had superwash Targi, but I think I'm out of that. But I've got a whole bunch of superwash domestic, which acts like a woolly wool, but is superwash. Because they're taking like meat sheep type fleece and superwash treating it. So crimpy stuff. And if you take crimpy stuff and superwash treat it, it still acts like wool.
Cool. It's a nice trick.
Yeah.
I'm down to my last. Well.
But like superwash merino feels all slinky and doesn't feel wool-like anymore. But you can have other superwash wools that still feel woolly.
Okay, by the way, Diane just had possibly one of the most brilliant things I've ever heard.
What?
She uses a metronome app to get their speed under control.
That is a really good idea. I was struggling with trying to make sure I put enough ply twist when I was plying the other day, and for the first time, I counted treadles.
What?
I would, pull out a arm's length to ply, and then I would count like 4 treadles, and then let it feed in, and then...
I don't know why I never even thought that might be a thing. But of course, the number of treadles is going to indicate the
amount
number
of twist,
turns and the amount of twist you get. Huh.
I did it for the first time, and the yarn looks really good. The plying is really much more even than I usually have.
Now that's a meditative act too, right? Like
yeah, because I don't know what it is, but with woolly winders, I have a trouble putting enough twist in while plying.
Yeah.
And so that's why I was trying to be very cautious of conscious of how much twist I was putting in when applying, because I tend to underply when I use my woolly winders.
I wonder why that is.
I don't know. I had the same thing with using e-spinners to ply.
Yeah. Right, so we've talked about your fiber plans. We've talked about the zoo. We haven't done too much else today.
No.
We watched Into the Spider-Verse again, because we had mentioned to the kids that the new Spider-Man movie was out, and they were like, oh, but we want to watch Into the Spider-Verse again. Okay. That's a good spider movie. Spider people movie.
Spider-Verse movie?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's in the name.
And we're trying desperately to try to get our kids to watch holiday movies with us, and they won't.
Oh my god, they were like, okay, yeah, so Enter the Spider-Verse, that's a holiday movie because there's snow in it, right? Okay. Frozen, that's a holiday movie. Like, we may as well just break down and watch Die Hard.
Yeah.
Apparently, according to my Google feed, Iron Man 3 is also qualified as a holiday movie. No, I'm talking about, we gotta watch Elf, we gotta watch all of the other reindeer.
Well, we might be able to get them to watch the Patrick Stewart Christmas Carol, because Gab's just read A Christmas Carol.
I think we'll get Gab to watch it. I don't think we'll get Adrian or Chris to.
I think one of them said they'd watch the Mickey Christmas Carol.
But they've done revisions to that, which bothered me. Like,
and isn't there a new Muppets one?
No, it's not a new one. It's the same old one. But they're advertising it now because it's the time of year. Dave, by the way, is done.
Good for him.
I think I'm about half done.
Remember, you stripped.
Yeah, I know. But, like, the strips... The strips came out in what was basically a natural strip for how thick I was spinning, and I feel like I've got 2 more strips left in my hand.
Mm.
And I spun 3 strips already.
So you're at 25% left.
No, I've got 2 more strips left. I mean, there's 2 strips in my hand, is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to spin them from one. Because I've got this imagination that it's going to go
Faster?
faster if I have them all together in my hand. Stephanie says, any thoughts on trying to spin lace weight on a wheel without using a specific lace flyer?
So things you can do to make it easier. It does help to have like a wide bobbin core. And so if you don't have specific lace bobbins, you can like tape insulation around your bobbin core to fatten it up. And what that does is the fatter your bobbin core is, the less tension there's going to be, especially in flyer lead setup. And so usually the key to spinning thin is to have minimal take up. And so controlling that helps a lot. So you can do that by increasing the size of your bobbin core. You can cross lace every time you cross lace, it reduces the take up by 50%, I think, is the math.
What is cross lacing?
You basically go, if you're on a hooked flyer, you go from one flyer arm to the other flyer arm.
Oh, okay. That's why I've got these loops on both sides.
That, and also if you're moving really fast, you need to have balanced flyer hooks.
Okay,
it introduces wobble
yeah.
and noise,
I
which
remember
is
we
why
were
I
troubleshooting
have
that once.
why I bought extra hooks for all of my Magicraft flyers so that I can balance the hooks.
Gotcha.
I once made a Hanson mini spinner almost walk off a table because the hooks weren't balanced.
By the way, Dave says, actually, I was spinning day 8 during stream. We spun day 7 earlier today to get ahead a bit before we travel for the holidays. He also says, I had issues with overtension. I have issues with too thin. Issues with overtension at the start of the bobbin, so I cross-laced until I had a few layers on.
Mm-hmm.
I just barrel on through. But maybe I will try this cross-lacing magic. Seems like all the cool kids are doing it.
It works really well. I have to do it on my Aura when I'm spinning cotton. And do it on like the Louette S17 I have, which is a bobbin lead, which usually has higher take up. And cross-lacing is the way to manage that.
So our local zoo has this light fest thing going on. So after the zoo is closed, then
People can drive through and
you
see
can
lights.
come to see lights. And I always assumed it was going to be something like in the parking lot or in a back section. No, they have people actually driving through the zoo, which, I mean, it's not that wide of pathways.
It's a single lane.
Yeah.
They have like the roads the trams
which
go
designed
on.
for people to walk around on.
But they have the trams in their own car. Like,
yes, those are people hired by the zoo to drive on. I just cannot imagine allowing people to drive through the middle of their walkways. I mean, obviously there's no other people there while people are driving through, but
at like less like at idle speed.
yeah, it still seems terrifying to me. I wonder if they have like any lights on the animals or anything too as you're driving through.
I doubt. I doubt there's elephant with like a light up wreath around its neck.
I wasn't saying. I meant like lights in the enclosures. Jesus, talk about animal abuse.
Probably not, because that would confuse the animals.
Yeah.
To have
no, having all the cars drive through, that's not going to confuse them
They can't
at
have
all.
their headlights on.
Yeah, I guess, oops, they can't see the lights then if the headlights are on.
And make sure you're not, you know, blinding people as they drive through.
Yeah. It just seemed really weird to me. Dave says his wheel is a bobbin lead S10. So yeah, just like what you were saying, that you have to cross lace on your S10.
Yep. And also the weirdest thing about S10 or the bobbin leads are you can also really decrease your take up by making sure your flyer shaft is well lubricated, as well as the part where the front of the flyer rests in the front maiden. Like, lubrication plays a really big role in take up for bobbin lead wheels. Which does make sense because if the bobbin isn't spinning freely on the flyer shaft, it's
gonna have more.
It's gonna have
more
stick
drag
and it's gonna have more drag.
I'm getting very meditative.
Don't fall asleep. You already took a nap.
Did I?
In the car.
I mean, it was a tiny little nap while you were buying hair dye. Oh no, that was when you were getting.
I was enjoying buying
office supplies.
Office supplies with nobody around.
All the kids wanted to stay in the car after the zoo. They were all tired, and Joe was like, "Well, we got to get some office supplies." So I stayed in the car with the kids.
And I got to look at all the pens and
Ooh.
all the paper and all the like organizers, and I didn't buy any.
That would have been a lot more. Well, it's because you didn't go to a stationery store. You went to Staples.
No, but they had a ton of stuff for planners.
Yeah.
They had like my half-size planner, like 3-ring binders. They have the disc organizers. They have some other like arc punch things. They have all sorts of things for organizers and bullet journals. And
are they trying to target the stationery crowd?
Yes. There's even some very pretty Martha Stewart like bullet journal. I almost got bought. There was a Martha Stewart bullet journal like kit with like stencils and everything you need to start bullet journal.
Huh. That might have been good for Gab.
We also have a thing that makes things that could make acrylic stencils.
Well, yes, we've got multiple things that make things.
Yeah.
As these fine people all know. Feels really weird when we look at these catalogs that everybody gets in the holidays for, you know, hipster gifts.
Yeah.
And like half of them are all like laser cut things. And we're like, that's a cool gift. Let's go make some of those with the laser cutter.
I mean, the sewing curves that I saw in the shop started off as a gift.
Yep. We haven't sold the wine glass holder kit.
No, because I think those are useless.
Hey, whoever, we gave it to my father and he appreciated it.
But has it been used?
That's not the point of these sorts of gifts. The point of the gift is to give a gift.
Appreciation is use. Or use is appreciation.
There you go. How very utilitarian of you.
I am very utilitarian. But not the general philosophy.
Molly is halfway, by the way.
I'm more of the William Morris philosophy of, you know, fill your world with beautiful things that you use.
Yep. Oh, crap. No!
Ah! Now I will best you.
Everything. Especially if I can't find my... There we go.
Oh, that didn't take too long.
It is going to take a long time if I can't. Yeah.
It's not fair if you just throw all your fiber on the
Oh,
ground.
quiet you. Okay. All of my fiber is sticking to my sweater now. Look, I'll even try
Yeah,
and...
William Morris was totally the original Marie Kondo.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is that the Joy lady?
Yeah.
I have actually not watched anything of hers except for an interview that she did with a Google artificial intelligence.
Oh?
Yeah, there was during the last Google keynote. Um, I don't know why they chose her, but they decided. Oh, they were doing. No, it wasn't an interview with an artificial intelligence. It was an interview with another person, but she was speaking in Japanese and the other person was speaking in English, and
Oh,
Google was doing
Google
the
was
instant translate.
Okay.
And it was really impressive how quickly Google translated
yes, but they
that.
can't translate soy milk to Spanish.
Hey, this was the new advanced one. So, I don't know. Maybe the new advanced one can.
Google often fails on Spanish, and it is disappointing.
Well, that's particularly odd. And for those of you that are not aware what Jill is talking about, we got to try it and see if Google will still do
it's
it.
better.
But at one point in time, supposedly, when you asked Google, how do you say soy milk in Spanish, it would say, I am milk.
Yeah.
It's like the bargain basement Guardians of the Galaxy character. Not Groot, milk. I am milk. See, I reincorporated all those little wispy bits.
Oh, good. No cheating.
Nope. Molly says, back to day 2. Day B remains a surprise.
It's a surprise for me, too. I don't remember what B is.
I was going to say, I hope at one point in time you knew. Just a bag of empty air. Surprise, you get to fill it with something from your own stash.
Oh, that would be interesting.
Yeah. See? I give you ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Not always good ones, but they are
Ones
ideas.
that often set me forth on a path.
A path. What was the colorway I was suggesting today? I can't remember what it was. There's something Oh, Piranha.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm probably always surprised by this. It's been a while since we went to the zoo, especially the aquarium part, because, indoors, other people, blah, blah, blah. And I don't know if you guys have seen red-bellied piranhas, but they sparkle. They're so pretty.
They're the color of bronze Angelina.
Yeah, right. So, like, aside from the fact that they'll eat your face off, they're absolutely adorable. So I was like, you need to make a colorway off this piranha.
Yeah. I said I couldn't do it as a blend, but I can do bats.
Maybe that'll be part of the bat club. Oh, God.
What? Are you going to win?
No, I'm thinking...
I think you're going to win,
I've
though.
got a half of an idea. Maybe. It'll be close. I've got a half of an idea.
Yeah.
Because, I always make the jokes about bats. Eek, eek, right?
Yeah.
But there's got to be some joke you can play off with Batman, right? So like the Gotham Fiber Club, but I don't know if that's copywritten.
Probably.
So like, what's the Pittsburgh was Gotham at one point in time in one of the Batman movies.
Yeah, and the Dark Knight and the Dark Knight Rises?
I think it was just the last one.
It was the one with
Bane.
Bane.
Yeah.
I just love the internet post you found that was somebody criticizing the opening of Free Guy, which is an aerial shot of downtown Pittsburgh. And this guy is critiquing of like, there's no way this is an actual city. This is totally fictional and made up.
It has way too many bridges. The point is obviously where there's some sort of like loot box that you want to go to. And, here's the PvP area. And it was an undoctored, completely real picture of downtown Pittsburgh. So apparently we are great for battle royale scenarios.
Yeah,
in
well,
downtown
fun
Pittsburgh.
fact, we have more bridges than Venice. Now, not all of our bridges go over water. The metric by which they determine that Pittsburgh has the most bridges is a bit suspect, but lots of bridges. And none of them have failed yet.
Yeah. I mean,
there's one that went on fire and it was closed for a bit after that.
It hasn't fallen down.
No.
But yes, it was closed. Dave says he really wants When in Pittsburgh. Or When in PGH, he specifically wrote. What the hell is this? That's in there. I just set that in there so that I would stop right before I finished.
Yes, I booby-trapped your fiber.
You did.
I'm just gonna finish before I do. I was all cocky about the woolly winder.
Now I've got to go and make sure that I didn't leave something on the floor. But I think I can claim success, victory. I don't know, what's the word I want to use?
Anything other than beating me.
Anything other than beating you. All right.
And you have not defeated me either, because I need feet to spin.
I'm really surprised at how far along we've gotten. It still feels like we're right at the beginning, but I've got,
5 to go.
Why am I counting? Of course, it's very easy for us to figure out how many we have to go. Math.
Well, now you have to entertain the folk.
I do. Well, we got to do it together still. Let's see. How's your 3D printed bobbin going?
Fine.
Yeah. Cool. All right, that's all I got.
That's it.
That's it.
You're done.
I'm done. I'm tired. We walked around a lot. Although,
have you gotten your 10,000 steps yet?
I don't know. Pikmin. I don't know if any of you have the bug for the Pokemon Go or the Harry Potter, which is now sadly deceased or will be deceased soon. But Pikmin Bloom is the replacement for the new Harry Potter from the Niantic realm, and it's a much calmer type of game. You basically set up.
You plant flowers and.
Well, you don't actually plant the flowers. You tell the program. You open it up. I'm like, okay, I want to plant flowers, and then you close it, and the Pikmin just go around and plant flowers while you're living your life, and it gives you some bonuses for walking around. It's basically like a pedometer with
mild AR.
with a mild Tamagotchi type of aspect to it, right? So you feed them nectar every now and then. You send them off on missions. So it's a really nice, like, light AR, real world game. So anyways, the reason I bring it up is today they had a community day where you get a special badge if you do 10,000 steps, and that's basically it. You get extra growth for your seeds too if when you're walking. And I was like, yeah, we're gonna go to the zoo. I'm totally gonna hit my 10,000 steps. And I didn't. I got 8,000. I'm like, this is embarrassing.
Test.
Yeah.
I probably got the extra steps beyond you because I went into the office supply store instead of taking a nap.
Yeah, that's probably what it was. All right. By the way, Sasa says, oh my God, I'm playing Pikmin Bloom 2, but it's been raining super hard today. If only treadles equal steps, then I would get my 10K. So here's the trick. You attach like a smartwatch to your leg.
Oh, I hit over 10,000.
Yeah, what is my
knitting gets registered as
knitting
steps
gets
for
registered
me.
as steps for me as well. I got 8,759. So totally
we have
not
some
bad.
knitting to do.
We have knitting to do. All right. I will if you hang on, I will put my friend code for Pikmin Bloom in the chat here for you all, and you can add me there. I'll add you back. But I've got my
Your dad joke.
So I know it's unlikely, but there's the possibility that I might go bald one day. And if I do, we need to definitely make sure that we have a rabbit that's calm enough that will sit on my head. Because then at least I'll have one hair on my head. Thanks a lot for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a good night.